Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Trilogy. Now, this video right now is inferring to a vibe or a video or some kind of energy. That's the best way I could put it. I don't want to say movement, but essentially a movement that I've been pushing, but kind of evolving into reality as an adult. Right? It's a certain perspectives and vibes I've had as a young person, as a kid, and it's evolving to a space where my I guess like my unique experience has me believing certain things. Like has me feeling certain things about myself, about my circle, about my you know what I mean? But let me see if there's a way I could put this so that the ego isn't the loudest aspect of how I'm explaining this. Cause it's hard to be the self explaining something about yourself without ego just permeating throughout the entire speech or rant or whatever the case may be. But I have an offline movement. I never speak about it online, so I'm not going to speak about it in this video currently. But this video is important for me to explain the reality that I am the guy to do the thing for my community, and the thing I'm trying to do offline is the culminating project, the culminating reason behind supporting someone like myself, saying I'm the guy for the community, like doing the work. Because obviously it's a conundrum in itself, right? Where we look at in another community, Elon Musk, and many folks will argue to say majority of the things that he's accredited for, he's actually not the person to do it. He didn't start PayPal, he didn't start SpaceX or none of these companies. He just was able to expand them based on his vision of where these companies need to be. So similarly, I don't see myself needing to be the individual to do all the literal work, but I see how all these working pieces will come together based on the reality of how our world works. I'm not going to get into that because I think if I do, it will dissuade folks from thinking I could even play that role, as many individuals look at this world through a very black and white lens versus the gray scale that we actually live day to day. So it's a long ass intro, and I still haven't really broken down anything on part of my language. I really haven't broken down anything literal specific to the point of the actual video. But that's how much layers and levels of thought that I know I need to have and maintain in order to get this video off properly, or get this point off properly without, in a sense, like confusing anyone. It's probably confusing to a lot of folks because it's like 4 minutes and you haven't even told us why we're here. But this is the point. I come from a community that when I assess to look and see the cloth that this community is, right? To say I'm cut from this cloth. This cloth is pretty goddamn regal. Okay? Pretty upper echelon in approach, application, and resolve. All that to say, this is the cloth of my friend group based on being in church. And I don't know, it's like, obviously, there's folk who would disagree based on their own friend group. They will, well, in my friend group, we have this and that and the other. Well, let me first say this. You might be a part of my friend group and you don't even know. Okay, so let's just stick that pin. Because I'm going to explain how I see my friend group and why I see the group that way. So, I was raised in a church. He wouldn't have to go through this again, but I was raised in a church that was, or that is, a very popular church based on its music, the music programs that was being built out of there, the specific musicians and individuals that were there, and how they passed those skills down to my generation and we further to the next and such and such. And that friend group is essentially based upon that reality. The friend group didn't start with me. I was inducted into the friend group via my mom. My mom was the person to join this church and join the friend group. Okay? The friend group would consist of meeting up for youth meeting, meeting up for choir, meeting up for praise and worship. And even if you weren't a part of the friend group, if you were a part of these activities, you would essentially become a part of the friend group because this is what the friend group spent their time doing. This friend group would also, on specific years when it made sense, rehearse for special dramas and special, just special things to present, whether it be talent for, or to go on, or even just to go on the road and evangelize. This friend group did everything together. So I'm not even going to speak on the founding members of the friend group because I wasn't even potentially in the province when this friend group started. I came to Ontario when I was turning 3, and this was the church I grew up in when I got here. So this friend group evolves, right? The friends have children, right? Friends have other friends in the neighborhood, in the area, and they bring their friends through. So this group of friends start growing. And it so happens to be we're in church. This is a church friend group. This is not just a friend group. This is a friend group based in church. So with that crux, and like I said, we're the majority of the vibe is music, and things that have to do with entertainment or some type of ministry or some type of outreach. So it's always like a social vibe. It's always, we're here, we're just speaking amongst each other, and we're speaking amongst the public, or we're just either amongst each other, but it's a space where public can come through because it's always social. So that is the essence of the vibe I'm raised in. Okay? Music. I think if you already heard me speak about my church, I speak about some of the great achievements individuals from my church, part of this friend group, have achieved. Some of them are Grammy winners. Some of them are Grammy nominated. And then through extension of this friend group, right? Friend groups, individuals creating their friend group and affiliating and bringing some of those friend groups back to the main friend group. And our church becoming like a very popular space for these friends to congregate and have these social interactions just created a vibe where it's like the litness for the link ups, for just socializing, is in my church. So it's one thing when you're a part of a friend group. It's another thing when the friend group that you're a part of is hosted in your space. It's hosted like you pull up, the party starts because you're there, because this is your abode. So imagine like that is like I'm used to hosting the ends because it's a church, and when it comes to a church, anybody can pull up. It's an open door policy, like pull up, especially the church says come just as you are. So there's a lot of folk who are used to coming through and seeing me on stage sing, lead worship, on the choir, play drums, read Bible, whatever, hold camera, all kinds of things, right? So all that to say, it's almost like folk is only gonna respect that I should be running the ends from inside a church. And I get it, like I completely get it, because I'm actually jumping over 5 points to make this point, because I don't want to conflate it, but at the same time, if I don't say it right now, it's not going to make sense to say it later. In church, they said I was going to lead you guys. I understand spirituality. Those things that were spoken onto my life were real, was facts. Has nothing to do with Abraham, nothing. The God of Abraham, Isaac, nothing, had nothing to do with that. It has completely to do with the spirituality of our ancestors. Completely that. And it's a hard conversation to have when everyone in your friend group only want to respect your ordination under Christianity. They only want to respect your spiritual calling under the guise of Christianity. When I was called, because I was called. I was called to lead because I was called to lead. And as I've been given the vision over the last 20-something years and not been saying it from a pulpit, I've been getting the most hate from those who know that I'm coming to say the things that's correct. And it's bothering me because it's supposed to be the friend group. It's supposed to be the friend group, meaning that the truths that I have to express should be reverberating so easy because we have the litness friend group. We have the litness friend group. It's not like we have the boring Bible study friend group. We had the lit friend group. And now everybody in the friend group think they more lit than the OG lit man from the friend group. The OG lit man from the friend group. The only more lit man is past gone. We know who he is. God rest his soul. He ordained me, if you want to call it like that. You know what I mean? What's the litness? What is the litness, guys? What is the litness? Okay, look at it this way. Think about it this way. Think about it this way. There's 3 sides of church. Administration, like the pastor, preacher, everybody, ushers, right? The team, all that, and the interworkings of that. Some people know about that. Some people don't. Most of you guys don't, because you're not part of clergy. You're not on them levels. You never had held the mic and prayed. You're just always in the pew. So you're part of that second category. Tenders. You know what I mean? Majority of the folk who's just in the church to be there to get what they need to get. So you're probably not even really a part of the friend group, because you just attend. Even if you went to my church, you just attended and you didn't chill afterwards to buy patty. You didn't chill afterwards to link up with nobody. But yeah, that's the third group. The litness. The kids who's outside running around. The musicians who don't stay and go outside to have conversation. The people who stay back after church and vibe. People who come early and vibe. The people who's not really there for so much what the pastor is saying, but more so for the link up of everybody who's there. That is in reality the true purpose. It's crazy, right? Just like you thought going to elementary and middle school and what is that was to get the grades, A+, B+, whatever, when it was really for recess and the network of friends that you're connecting with and building with and whatever to this day. If you connected with one of those individuals and they happen to be your wife or husband now, that was the point. If you connected with any of those individuals, they happen to be your best friend, you guys are, best friends to this day, that was the point. Or you find someone you run a business with now, they're a part of your network, you guys open a company and such, that was the point. Or their parent hired you because they already had a company and they knew you from when you were a little kid and such, that was the point. Not to oppress Miss and so and Mr. So-and-so with A+, B+, whatever, right? So rewind, bring it back to this point that I'm speaking on. The same thing, it's like, if you thought you're going to church to like impress God, well, let me impress God by like screaming hallelujah the loudest when pastor says something that we already knew to be true. Well, that was not the point. When you connected with the young person, you said, you know what? I'm going to sow into your life and here's some money for your school trip. That was the point. That was the point. When you saw the young people or the elders and you helped them with something, or you contributed to somebody's situation, that was the point. That's the litness. That has to do with not preaching. That has to do with everybody chilling, linking up, the link up, having conversation, vibing, seeing what's going on. It has nothing to do with Christianity in all reality. But that was the function that really was like the essence of who I became. To know that every Sunday and multiple times a week, I am here to maintain a disciplined energy towards this litness by just being involved in activities that will continue to push the movement of everybody coming to be lit. Everybody coming to for the litness. Like link up, guys. There's Wednesday night Bible study, or Thursday night praise and worship, or Friday night youth meeting, or Saturday concert, Sunday service, or Monday sanctuary choir rehearsal, or Tuesday probably we didn't really have things bopping on a Tuesday, but then again Wednesday boys club, girls club, or what, you know what I mean? All kinds of different things could be bopping, and it's all lit. Then there's different excursions, like I told you, going to the States, going here, traveling there, and you create a bond, and everybody's even competing in terms of certain art skills, certain. It's just a vibe. It's just a. You're not even living life. You're just vibing. You're just vibing. And to the folks who, who were keep it a buck, for people who were marginalized in the situation, that's the evolution that needs to be addressed, right? That's the issue, because you have folks coming to the building for three different reasons. You have clergy and people getting paid, making money from this thing, right? You have folks who's coming because they're guilty, so they just really need to sit in the pews, do what they got to do, and dip. And then you have the rest of us who might still bounce between these two categories. But we know the true value of what we're coming here is the litness, is the energy of each other. Connect with so-and-so, bust a joke with so-and-so, hug so-and-so, clap hands with so-and-so, sing songs with so-and-so. That was the real vibe. And the problem is, in this day and age, there's too much politics. It's gonna stop majority of the people to ever come back to these buildings until, boom, someone's dead. Boom, someone's dead. Not even someone's married. That's the only reason. I don't even like pulling up no more, because I know I'm only seeing you guys because we're celebrating death. I hate the death culture being the reason that folks who are link up brethrens and stuff don't link up until it's that. Folks who we used to link up all the time, and that if we were linking up regularly, we would be helping each other's lives. We would be a part of each other's lives. We would be building this city to a next level, the way we built it to the levels that it got to, based on us being the friend group. The city is continuing and consistently still eating off of the manna of this friend group. And I will stand to believe this. No one can change my mind about this. Because they think that they're the friend group, but they don't realize their litness, all this litness is evolving from this friend group. I bet you we go down the rabbit holes, we start realizing members from your friend group came from our friend group, or knew someone from our friend group, or da-da-da from this original friend group. Because like I said, I didn't start this friend group. My mom joined the friend group. My mom was a young person joining a friend group, like moved from a whole next province to pull up for the friend group. We're not going to pretend like this place wasn't already lit. There was already an energy like, yo, this is where it's going. And like, I'm not going to get into the exacts of how and who's, but I'm just saying, pulled up, and it was a GTA vibe right here in Malton, right here in this Peel region. There was something specifically happening here, okay? And it seemed to be very unique, that it wasn't a specific block energy. It was almost like an amalgamation, because there was Rexdale peoples, Jane and Finch peoples, Scarborough peoples was pulling from all over, because they had moved from all over and they're coming to this side. There's a specific energy, and it was also a conscious energy, because it wasn't an energy coming from lack. These were families who already moved out the hood. These were the successful ones. This was graduation. Survival of the fittest, if anything, you want to call it that. So these are the ones who make it out. And we're all communicating, collecting. And then others who understand, yo, there's a sauce over there. They're pulling up. Even folks from other churches who know they have their own service going in and skipping their service and pulling to our church. And I've kind of like downplayed it so much because it was church. I downplayed it so much, but I was the masculine energy there. After, when all of my youths who were older than me been dipped and disappeared, the litness continued. The litness didn't die. The litness continued. It wasn't the same. Let's keep it a buck. It wasn't the same. But the litness continued. And it continued because of me. When my best friend, who was Bati and bench with me for this whole litness, moved to the States. And I was just me, one by myself, now to hold the chain, to hold the energy of this litness. The litness kept going. The litness didn't die. The litness kept going. You want to know when it died? When I left. Litness died when I left. Litness died when I left. And it's not me saying this. This is all the rest of the young folk and folks who's the next generation of supposed to be keeping the energy coming, saying, yo, litness is dead. Litness is gone. And something was awry, because we had finally evolved to a space where it was not just lit energy, but it was leadership energy. There was power in the litness. There was power in movements. There was power in tongue. There was power. There was results in the power of the tongue too. And I feel like certain individuals that wasn't liking that our little friend group was able to command so much power. But now the power wasn't so, in a sense, tied down to rules and regulation, because you know it's me we're talking about. But folks who knew me in that realm knew I was like, it's not like I was just a wild us. Like, yeah, maybe now I'm a wild us, but I freed up in the wild. But there I was freed up in a conservative box, right? I was freed up within the space of religiosity, within the space of this friend group, friend of church. So my litness was still su. That's why I ain't even swearing on this video for folks who's coming from that perspective. They're sensitive to that. They ain't trying to hear that. But the reality is, I'm still the guy. I've still been leading the charge. I've still been on the front lines. I've never left the ministry. I left church. I left religion. I left Abrahamic God. This whole, the cabal, I left that. But did I leave the ministry to fight for our people, for my family, for the litness, for the friend group? Never. Never. I never stopped. I've been calling for everyone to pull up. I've been calling, been had so much different spots for everyone to link up. I'm not gonna get into all of that because, like I said, it resolves to the offline movement. But I just wanted to really get folks to know the history of me really saying, yo, let's do this. Let's pull for this. Let's actually push and reach higher levels. Started from when I was in church. And it gets conflated because, yes, I was a church boy. But it wasn't because I was for church. I was for good. I was for God, or whatever you want to call it. I was for good. And I'm still for good to this day. It never changed. It never changed. If you really want to get into the real deep question of why is he no longer preaching good from inside church and now he's preaching outside with like this, with his rebellious self and long dread, moving like he's a Rasta, but he's not even a Rasta. Because the Rastas are Christian too. At the end of the day. I'm just here pushing for litness, for the family, for the link up, for the social vibes, for the original friend group that expanded, and so many other people as a part of this friend group. If even one person from my friend group is in your friend group, I promise you, you're part of our friend group. If one person from my friend group is in your thing, they're probably the most lit person in your thing. And even if they're quiet, their quiet energy is probably more lit than any other quiet person you know. Yep. My friend group is not a joke. The friend group has some very important people. I ain't going through the list. It doesn't really matter. But that's what I'm trying to say. This is that lit energy. That lit energy that you just lit regardless for what? For what? Who cares? Yo, I'm just lit. And it rubbed off. And there's some people who resent the fact that they in the friend group, but the friend group's not hosted in their house. Like the friend group is not, they're not the admin for the group chat. I've been the admin for the group chat. But I ain't really been on certain waves. So now people trying to use that infract. Acting like we weren't rice Christians. If you don't even know what that term means, if you don't know the definition, if that's the first time you heard that term, you should never hate on someone leaving the faith. You should never hate on anybody leaving the Christian faith. If you don't know what that term is and you don't have the proper retort to explain it and to explain why that's malarkey, if you believe so and feel so, you should never hate on nobody leaving the faith called black person. So, all these points converge, all these situations conflate, and we find ourselves in this day where I'm pretty sure majority of the folk who still following the faith are rice Christians at this point, and they don't realize it, or even if they do, and they're just doing it because the litness is there, the friend group is there, and goddamn, it's like how many decades of this being the vibe? Why would we switch up? Where else do we converge for the litness? Where else do we link up? Where else can we have this vibe? Where else is a safe space? Only the government 501c3 or whatever you want to call this organization to have a religious link up is the only way we can do this. That's what I'm saying. The offline movement, something different happening. Because that's not the only way the litness can happen. Litness can happen in this country in other ways. There's other forms. Even if it still requires organizing with the government, but at least don't organize at the lowest tiers, one of the lowest tiers of being recognized by the government as a charitable organization. Like, I get it in some way, shape, or form. That's high level. Like, oh yeah, I'm a philanthropist. I'm doing so good. I'm blessing others. But we know the model of how churches work. It's not like one rich person or one rich company helping the world. It's actually one person looking for the world to make them rich. We know that already. Pastors wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for their congregation giving them offering. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay? We're not gonna get into that. It just is what it is. It's not the same like any other type of charitable organization that's like Bill Gates, Heart Foundation, whatever. The man's a billionaire and taking a siphon part of it to try and, balance off his taxes or virtue signal or whatever, or wash money, whatever way it is. That's not the same motive or energy criteria of the charitable organizations of a church. So it's different energy. The conversations tend to feel like they could come from that energy of ooh, I'm so blessed. Let's see how we can bless the world. But that's very rarely the tone of a church. Okay, so not saying it's not, because it definitely is. But come on, man. There's so much church hurt. If that was truly the tone of the church, there wouldn't be church hurt. Because all the people's like, oh, I'm so blessed. Let's see how we can bless the world. We'll be first blessing the people right beside them in their church. So church hurt wouldn't be happening because person would be blessed. Just residually. Just, oh my gosh. There's 6 degrees of separation. You're like half a degree, not even a full 1 degree. So it should clearly bless you. But no. If anything, the opposite. And there's other stats. So I'm not going to get into those stats or get into anything because that's not to do with the point. But I just want to really make sure I explain this idea of the conviction I have on my life to lead my community out of the BS. The amount of research I do on my ones to understand just what this whole thing is. Because we just wake up, same 2 eyes. Go to sleep, wake up, same 2 eyes. I don't even get a chance to try someone else's life. It's only this guy I've been living as. So for me to even get an iota of a different perspective. I gotta do how much layers of research. But luckily, music's been my thing. And music's been an easy thing from young, and the thing I've been doing from young. So, it gives me time, and I don't have kids. So I got time. I got time to research and figure out the truth, understand certain things that a lot of people just don't have the time to slow down and smell the roses, much less uncover and turn over rocks to see if there's even the truth is there. They're leaving how many rocks unturned because they're in the rush. Everybody's in the rush and keeping up with the Joneses and all kinds of stuff that they're doing. So, anyways, if that point could be expressed, and if even 3 people, god dang, one person gets it, yo, at least we can have back and forth, because I know if you get it, you'll link me, you'll figure out, you'll be like, yo, this guy, yeah, what if 2? Yo, we could change the world, I know. But god dang, if 3 people catch the vibe of what I'm trying to emit here, and they completely get what I'm trying to say, and they understand, like, from the perspective that I'm truly speaking, because maybe they know names that I'm choosing not to say. Maybe they understand individuals and situations and the exacts of what I'm trying to say, and they're like, yo, I really need to link this guy. This guy is actually on the way for real. Like, he's not no online virtue signaling, whatever. Like, no, he's putting in work for real, and he's trying to keep the work going, and he's dealing with the obstruction of the actual system itself in abstract forms. It's not no straightforward, blatant way, because the enemy would never hurt you and do things in the way you would expect. He would be in ways that are so abstract that even probably your own allies don't realize. So clearly, let me rock with this. I swear, if 3 of you guys even get that, yo, unstoppable. I promise you, 1 person, yo, we're making moves. Okay, back and forth, woos. But if 2 people get this, I know we could change the world. I know. 3, unstoppable. 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 So if you don't get it, maybe watch the video again. Maybe watch this again. Maybe watch it again, to be honest. Because I think I explained the point. And if you're not even from our country, don't try and hurt your brain to try and understand me trying to say I'm a leader or community, whatever. Just allow it. Don't get triggered and be like, well, you're not. Allow it. Okay? Or if you're also from my country and you feel like you're a leader or whatever, and I'm stepping on toes, just allow it. I didn't explain my vision in this video, so you don't know if I'm stepping on your toe. Okay, so just allow it. I didn't explain what I'm doing offline either, so you don't know if I'm stepping on your toe. Just allow it. But if you catch the drip, yo, technology's about. Link up. Let's get it. Peace.